What if the most profound secrets are not hidden in guarded vaults or whispered in clandestine meetings, but are instead displayed openly for all to see, concealed only by a veil of allegory and symbol? What if the men who built our world, the architects of revolutions, the fathers of nations, the visionaries of science, were all initiated into a hidden tradition, a craft that taught them not how to build cathedrals of stone, but how to construct the temple of the human soul? For centuries, one name has been the subject of fear, fascination, and endless speculation: the Freemasons. They are called a secret society, a cabal that manipulates history from the shadows. Their symbols are everywhere, yet their true purpose remains an enigma, lost in a labyrinth of conspiracy theories and Hollywood fantasies. But the truth is far more intricate and infinitely more potent than any fiction. Forget what you think you know. This journey is not about exposing secrets, but about understanding the very nature of secrecy itself. It is about an ancient system of morality, veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols, designed to take a good man and make him better. In this exploration, we will strip away the myths to reveal the philosophical heart of the craft. We will trace its origins not just to the guilds of medieval stonemasons, but to the mystery schools of the ancient world. We will decipher the profound meaning behind their most sacred tools and reveal how these instruments are not for shaping stone, but for perfecting the character of man. This is the path from darkness to light, from ignorance to enlightenment. This is the truth about the most influential and misunderstood fraternity in history. To understand the craft, you must first understand that it operates on two levels of history: the seen and the unseen, the body and the soul. The profane history, the one you will find in encyclopedias, begins in 1717 in a London tavern where 4 lodges gathered to form the first Grand Lodge. This is the official birth of modern speculative Freemasonry, a shift from the operative craft of literal stone cutting to a philosophical system using the tools of the stonemason as allegory. But this is merely the vessel, the modern form given to a spirit that is immeasurably older. The true esoteric lineage of Freemasonry flows from the very dawn of civilization. Its central allegory, the bedrock of its ritual and philosophy, is the building of King Solomon's temple. This is not a claim of direct, unbroken descent, but a profound spiritual claim. The lodge is a symbolic representation of that temple, and every mason is a symbolic laborer in its construction. The goal is not to rebuild a physical structure in Jerusalem, but to erect a spiritual temple in the heart of man, a temple dedicated to the grand architect of the universe. This narrative, centered on the master builder Hiram Abiff, is a timeless drama of integrity, loss, and the eternal quest for that which was lost, the genuine secrets of a master. This pattern of initiation, a symbolic death and rebirth in the pursuit of divine knowledge, did not begin with Solomon. It echoes in the torch-lit chambers of the Eleusinian mysteries in Greece, where initiates confronted the myth of Persephone to lose their fear of death. It mirrors the teachings of Pythagoras, who demanded his students observe years of silence before receiving his inner wisdom, teaching them that geometry and number were the language of the divine. It resonates with the Hermetic traditions of ancient Egypt, founded on the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, which sought to understand the great axiom, as above, so below, uniting the microcosm of man with the macrocosm of the universe. These streams of wisdom, these ancient currents of thought, flowed through the ages. Some say they were sheltered by warrior monks like the Knights Templar, who brought esoteric knowledge back from the East. They were refined in the fires of Renaissance alchemy, where the transmutation of lead into gold was understood as a metaphor for spiritual purification. When the Age of Enlightenment dawned, this ancient spirit found its perfect home. In an era of revolution and radical new ideas about liberty, equality, and the rights of man, Freemasonry provided the philosophical framework and the sacred space for these ideals to flourish. It was a crucible where the old wisdom could forge a new world. The lodge became the temple. The stonemason's tools became the instruments of self-perfection, and the ancient search for light became the great work of the modern Mason. The great work of a Freemason is not performed in the world of commerce or politics, but in the silent quarry of the self. The entire philosophy of the craft can be understood through the symbolism of two stones, the rough ashlar and the perfect ashlar. Behold the rough ashlar. This is humanity in its natural state. It is a stone pulled from the earth, full of potential but unformed. Its edges are sharp, its surfaces uneven. It is a slave to the passions, clouded by prejudice and weighed down by ignorance. This is each of us before the work begins. It is the raw material of the soul, brimming with power but lacking direction, a chaotic force without a noble purpose. Within this jagged rock sleeps a perfect form, a hidden geometry waiting to be revealed. The journey of Freemasonry, and indeed the journey of the human spirit, is the art and science of transforming this raw material. Now behold the perfect ashlar. It is smooth, its angles are true, its faces are perfectly square. It is a stone prepared by the hands of a master craftsman to become a part of a greater structure, that spiritual temple, not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. This is the symbol of the enlightened man. He has, through discipline and education, smoothed the rough facets of his character. He has subdued his ego, mastered his passions, and polished his mind until it reflects the light of truth. He is a being of virtue, integrity, and wisdom, fit to be a cornerstone of a just and enlightened society. The entire Masonic system is a set of tools and blueprints designed to guide a person on this transformative journey from the rough to the perfect. But how is this transformation achieved? Not with abstract platitudes, but with symbolic working tools. The entered apprentice, the first degree of Masonry, is presented with the 24-inch gauge and the common gavel. The gauge, a simple ruler, is used to measure and lay out the work. Symbolically, it teaches the Mason the value of time, dividing the 24 hours of the day into 3 equal parts: a portion for his work and vocation, a portion for the service of the grand architect and the aid of his fellow man, and a portion for refreshment and rest. It is a blueprint for a balanced, purposeful life. The common gavel is the instrument of force. It is used to break off the rough corners and superfluous edges of the stone. This symbolizes the power of will, the focused discipline required to chip away at our vices, our prejudices, our pride, and our apathy. It is the conscious, sometimes painful effort of self-correction. Alone, however, the gavel is a blunt instrument. It requires the guidance of the chisel, which is a tool of a higher degree, which represents the refining force of education. The gavel is our willpower. The chisel is the knowledge that directs that will. Through them, the Mason consciously and skillfully reshapes his own being, chipping away at the darkness of ignorance to reveal the light within. This is the first step on the path, to know thyself and to begin the sacred labor of self-perfection. The work of perfecting the stone does not end with the simple tools of discipline and balance. Once the rough edges are removed, the Mason's journey turns inward and upward. This is the lesson of the second degree, the fellow craft, symbolized by the winding staircase. This ascent represents the pursuit of knowledge, a challenging climb into the intellectual heart of the universe. The steps of this staircase are the 7 liberal arts and sciences: grammar, rhetoric, logic, arithmetic, music, astronomy, and chief among them, geometry. For the Mason, geometry is the divine science, the logical blueprint upon which the grand architect created all of existence. To study it is to study the mind of God. This climb leads the fellow craft to the symbolic middle chamber of the temple. It is here he is to receive his wages. But these are not wages of silver or gold. The wages of a true craftsman are more valuable. They are the discovery of truth. They are more light. In the center of the middle chamber hangs the letter G, a symbol of staggering depth. It represents both geometry, the master science, and God, the grand geometer of the universe. It is the sacred intersection of reason and faith, science and spirituality. The lesson is clear. The disciplined study of the material world, of nature and science, is a pathway to understanding the divine. Having prepared himself morally and intellectually, the Mason is finally ready to confront the ultimate mystery. The third degree, that of the Master Mason, is one of the most profound and misunderstood allegorical dramas in the world. Here, the candidate symbolically reenacts the legend of Hiram Abiff, the master architect of Solomon's temple. As the legend goes, Hiram was slain at the temple's completion by 3 ruffians who sought to extort the secret word of a master mason from him. With his dying breaths, he refused, choosing death over the betrayal of his sacred trust. The candidate in this degree symbolically experiences Hiram's fate. This is not a mere play. It is a powerful contemplation of loyalty, betrayal, and the inevitability of death. It is a stark reminder that death is the great leveler, coming for the prince and the pauper alike. But the drama does not end in tragedy. The climax is the symbolic raising of the candidate from a figurative grave. This is the core of the Masonic secret. It is a lesson in the immortality of the soul. It is not about a physical resurrection, but the profound faith that something essential within us, our character, our legacy, the divine spark, is indestructible and survives the decay of our mortal frame. So what then are the infamous secrets of Freemasonry? Are they passwords and handshakes? Yes, but those are merely keys to the door. The true secrets are the subjective experiences of these allegories. The secret is the internal shift that occurs when you contemplate the gavel, the personal epiphany you have while climbing the winding stair, the feeling of transcendence when you are symbolically raised from the darkness of the grave into the light of life eternal. These secrets cannot be written or told. They cannot be stolen or extorted. They can only be felt, experienced, and lived. The wisdom of the craft was never intended to remain locked within the lodge room. It is a living, breathing system for human development. Its allegories are not just stories, they are blueprints for building a better life. So how can you, whether you are a Mason or not, begin to apply these powerful principles today? The great work is available to all who have the courage to begin. First, you must inspect your raw material. Take out a journal and dare to look upon your own rough ashlar. Be a mercilessly honest craftsman. What are your sharp corners? Is it a quick temper? A tendency toward jealousy? What are your superfluous edges? Is it procrastination, mindless scrolling, negative self-talk? Write them down. Do not judge, simply observe. This honest self-inventory is the essential first step. To know the stone is to know where the work must begin. This is the modern application of the ancient imperative, know thyself. Next, pick up your working tools. Begin with the 24-inch gauge. Tonight, before you sleep, take a piece of paper and design your tomorrow. Consciously divide your 24 hours. Don't just schedule your job, schedule your growth. Block out time for your labor, but also block out 30 minutes for refreshment. Not passive entertainment, but true rejuvenation, like a walk in nature. Most importantly, schedule 30 minutes for what the Masons call the service of God and a distressed worthy brother. You can interpret this as you wish. Schedule time for meditation, for prayer, or for an act of selfless service. Call a lonely friend. Help a neighbor. Design your day with intention, and you will begin to build a life of purpose. Now, wield the gavel and the chisel. Every morning, look at your list of rough edges. Choose one, just one, to work on for that day. This is your gavel work. If you chose procrastination, make a commitment to do the hardest task first. If you chose anger, resolve to pause and take a breath before you speak. This conscious act of will is the gavel, chipping away at a flaw. But force alone is not enough. It needs refinement. That is the chisel. In the time you scheduled for learning, read a chapter of a philosophy book. Watch a documentary that expands your mind. Study something that elevates your thinking. The gavel is your discipline. The chisel is the wisdom that guides it. One breaks the old patterns, the other shapes the new. This is the labor. It is slow, methodical, and requires daily commitment. Some days the stone will feel impossibly hard, and the tools will feel heavy in your hands. This is the challenge. The path of self-perfection is not a sprint. It is the patient daily work of a lifetime. But every conscious act, every small vice overcome, every new piece of wisdom gained is another tap of the gavel, another smooth pass of the chisel, transforming your rough ashlar day by day into a living work of art. We began our journey in a world of shadows and secrets, seeking the truth about a fraternity shrouded in mystery. We have found that the truth is not one of global conspiracy, but of personal transformation. We've walked the path from the operative stonemasons to the speculative philosophers, from the quarries of the earth to the middle chamber of the soul. We have seen that the true purpose of Freemasonry is to provide the tools, the blueprint, and the fellowship for the most sacred construction project of all, the building of the self. The gavel and the gauge, the winding stair, the legend of the fallen master, these are not relics of a forgotten age. They are a timeless map for the human spirit. They teach us to balance our days, to discipline our will, to elevate our minds, and to face our own mortality with courage and faith in that which is eternal. The ultimate secret of the craft is that the power to transform lead into gold, to turn the rough ashlar into the perfect, lies dormant within each of us, waiting to be awakened by the force of a focused will and the light of knowledge. The great Temple of Solomon may have been completed thousands of years ago, but the spiritual temple of humanity is still under construction. Each of us is, at once, the architect, the builder, and the living stone. The work is great, and the time is short. So look at your hands, they hold the tools. Look at your life, it is the stone. The question is not whether you are a Freemason. The question is, will you begin the work?